All right, so this is a posting or a video that's dealing with like if your object is looking super lumpy like this object is, and why is it looking lumpy. Let's get into it. It's not supposed to be looking lumpy like that apparently. So what I'm going to do is we're going to open a Hypershade. Here's an object that I have that is lumpy. Might be a little more complex than a lot of objects, the shader, but sorry. I opened the Hypershade by hitting this little green button here, by the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this little plus button just because I have a lot of shaders open. But if you're blank, that's fine. And then I'm going to select this guy, and that is going to show all the materials that are connected to that mesh. Now, the mesh, let's go. So we have the AI standard shader. This is my skin shader AI standard surface. And if you're using Arnold, then that's what it's going to be connected to. That's your basic material shader. What's important is actually this guy right here. And this is your shading group node. And that shading group node actually connects to the surface, and then that actually says, oh, this is where you get the color, and this is where you get the volume of the volume, and this is where you get the displacement. And the problem that we just looked at looks like it's a displacement problem. So if there is this problem right here, we're just going to follow this down. So this connected here. Okay, well, you don't know if everything looks good at that point. And let's select the file node. Now, the color space for this file node needs to be set at raw because it is a data node or it is a grayscale. Basically, the rule of thumb is if an image is grayscale, if an image is a grayscale, sorry, cat, it is going to be raw color space, and if the image is color map, it's going to be an sRGB color space. So, but this might be grayed out. You might not have any options here, and if you don't have any options here, you can come down to preferences by selecting this guy right here, a little running guy, or we can go to Windows, Setting Preferences, and then we're going to go Preferences. We're going to select on Color Management, and we're going to make sure Color Management is on, right? And then View Transform sRGB, and then here this Import Color Space. Maya by default has a set as sRGB. I have mine at raw. Honestly, it's kind of better at raw, but you know, I mean, it's a personal choice thing. You're going to have to change that file node regardless, right? This guy right here, on some files. It's never gonna be like 100% accurate or whatever, unless you output everything as raw or linear color space. But we're not getting into color space. You can Google that. So yeah, mine is set to raw. So or you can set to sRGB. It's okay. So we're going to hit save. I'm not going to hit save because then it's going to update stuff, and I don't want it to update. All right. So now this color space should be showing up for you if it wasn't showing up. So one thing that is a good idea to do once you've come to a file and you've said, okay, I've selected this, it's different than what my default is. My default space is raw. So if I come along, let's say, and let's just show what's going to happen. So if I go sRGB here, no, it's converting textures, sorry, it's going to update a bit. Okay, so boom, there you go. Now, what's gonna what's gonna happen if I come over here, because we've set our default to be raw. If I come and I hit reload, what's going to happen is it's actually going to switch this color space back to whatever the default is. That's why I had to go to sRGB, is because now it's going to take it back into raw. There we go. See how it comes back into raw? If we click this ignore color file space rules, now it will not do that. It will keep the color space where we want it, which is, in this case, is raw. It's kind of redundant here because my default is always raw, but you know, yours may vary. Another important thing we actually need to do, as if that's coming in, is we need to establish that that file is actually there. And so source subs, that's displacement, and I know it's there, so because I checked. But a better way of checking is we can go to Windows General Editors, and we can go to the File Path Editor. You see this File Path Editor, this sort of goes through all your material shaders and the files that are connecting, and it just says, yeah, that's there, that's there, that's there, that's there, that's there. It says that everything's there. Here, I have some X's. Bonifacto Street is missing, and this is missing. I don't know, but that doesn't look like that's going to be my problem, because all these images that are connecting into here, right, into that material subs body, they're all right. Or actually, these are the folders they're coming from. So in theory, that could be it, but it's not it, because I see this is not by material. Sorry, it's by directory. Yeah, you can see it in here somewhere. There it is, right there. I already had it highlighted. See, so I already know that it's found and it's all good. So I'm just going to click that off. There are a lot of tutorials that will show you how to use that path if you come up all X's. Now, to find all your file nodes, I mean, this is a complex shader, so I want to find all these files. Here's a file right here. It's basically what's at the end of the massive line of trees, right? So you can just follow your it's like a mystery here. We're just following the lines. And oh, there's another one right there. And ooh, that's an sRGB guy. And this is a painted map, and I could look at it to know it's painted. Basically, it's color. The other one that we looked at over here, the specular one, this is a data map because it's black and white, and it's plugging into a data channel, which is like specular roughness, or the specular weight right there. So that is not our problem. Now, finally, there is a new problem it could be, and I've seen this on this particular object right here. I know it rendered fine before, and it's not rendering fine now. It's doing this, and what it was is if we go to that displacement node, before the scalar value 0 needed to be set at 0.5. That no longer seems to be the case. So if I come back here and I hit 0 and put that to 0, and there you go. He's fine now. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's just say that it has to be 0. Or try putting this to 0 and see if that helps. I'm kind of not going to get into the math of the displacement and stuff like that. Another thing you can do is just disconnect the displacement shader if it's being used. Now, again, that normal map, I don't have a normal map in here, so I don't know, and I don't know actually if it's in again. I've recorded this twice. This connection, the normal camera, usually I'll have a normal map coming into it if there's a normal map. Follow that normal map, go to it, and make sure it's set to color space raw, because if it is set to color space sRGB, you will get the kind of problems you're seeing too, but usually it doesn't affect the displacement, but it makes it look really weird and messed up. So that can also be your problem. And there you go. That was a really wordy way to try to help you troubleshoot your problem.